For you, drama queen.
Okay, how y'all doing out there? This is Pete.
Fuzzy. All right, there you go.
How y'all doing out there? This is Pete over at SWRC. We got Minnie, the body shop girl. Can I go ahead and just say something? That's been insulted way too many times. I'm sorry. Will you get over here, please? Okay, come on. We got a D.I.Y. auto school video to make. Everybody's waiting on Minnie, the body shop girl.
Hey, right there. Right there.
Where are you going? What are you doing? What's up?
You got your 2 minutes.
Will you come here, please? Okay, I don't know what's going on with all that action. I mean, I was just trying to fun it up with her and, you know, make a joke out of things. She claims that I actually insult her, but really, to be on the truthful side, who insults who when it comes down to insulting and getting loud? Minnie! Minnie! Alright, she'll be out here in a minute. What we'll do is we'll wait till she gets out here, then we'll start the video and take it from there.
Welcome to D.I.Y. Automotive School with my friend Pete and Minnie, the body shop girl. It's everything you need to know about cars and more.
Okay, are we on record?
Yeah.
Come on, man. Jesus. Look at it. Come on, okay? Are we all... No. Minnie.
I told you I'm not in this video, Pete. I'm just doing the camera.
Okay, fine. Just be the camera person. Girl. Come on over here. Let's see what we got. Come on. What we got here is we got to get these lights on. Let me do that first. Okay, are we still backlit over here? A lot of backlight going on. Minnie? Is there a lot of backlight going on?
That light doesn't do anything.
Okay, let's go ahead and do this. We'll help everybody out. Because we want to get a good angle on this job. See, we don't want it. Alright, how's that? How's that, camera girl? Is that better?
I'm going to turn it off if you keep talking to me.
Can I go ahead and talk? Huh? Can I? You know, it'd be nice if you ask questions as we go. Questions that maybe you might think viewers are watching. That way we can kind of answer questions before they ask them. Because you're kind of good at that.
Are you going to edit this shit out? I fucking hope you are!
Okay. Alright, are you ready? Are we ready?
If you're going to do it normally, yeah.
Okay, I am doing it normal.
Without fucking pissing me off.
I'm not pissing nothing off. I just asked if you were going to ask questions. Oh my God. Okay, how's everybody doing out there? This is Pete over at SWRC. Pete. D.I.Y. Auto School. what we're doing today is we're working on a car that needs a lot of work. And what we're going to be doing today on the car is doing a lot of work. Because that's what the car is needing, is a lot of work. Because it's a big car, it's a classic car.
Are you just talking like an idiot because you want to be, or what?
What we are looking at over here is a car that is a car that's being in the process of being restored. And we're going to take a look at what has been done to this car real quick. If camera girl, I'm sorry, Minnie, can open the door, please. There you go. Now, can you kind of like, follow my action here? Okay, so what we got is this whole floor has been replaced. Now, how can you tell that, Minnie? How can you tell it's been replaced?
Probably by the weld.
Where? I don't see any. What are you talking about? What welds? Where? Okay. What about over here? What about these spot welds?
They probably did it on the
Plug. Those are actually plug welds, but what do you think of those? Would that give you an indication that the floor's been replaced?
It almost looks like rivets.
Yeah. Another thing is, if you look real close, you can see where the floor was mounted up with the firewall, and you can see there's no seam sealer in there. It's perfectly clean and looks brand new.
Yeah.
All right. And then over here, of course, and on the other side, if Minnie shows them,
Now
you can
these,
see where everything-
what did you call these kind of welds?
Well, they're spot welds. I just call them plug welds because
Oh.
they weren't ground down.
Okay. Is that how they kind of look like?
That's kind of what they look
Factory?
like when you first do them. No, they don't look like that from the factory.
Oh.
That's an aftermarket rendition of a spot weld, but the spot welds look great.
They
Okay.
do look very clean.
They were uniform and they were put on there properly. So, what we're doing today, and if we look back here, we can see where Minnie, the body shop girl, has already prepped up the trunk. And when I say prep up the trunk, she's went in this trunk and sanded the whole trunk down with what? 80 grit?
80.
That's 80 or 180?
180.
Okay, this is 180 that we're looking at here. And this is the factory primer that you get on these aftermarket replacement parts. Now, the reason she sanded that is because we are going to do a job today. It's called seam sealing. And if Minnie comes over here and kind of looks down through here, I want to show everybody something. And this is why it's crucial that you do seam sealing on your car when you're restoring it. Can you see that right there? You see?
Yeah.
Okay, so there's a seam where, now look over here, follow the light, you
It
can see.
wasn't all the way across, but
Well, it is, but it's a little tighter in other spaces than, see, look at here. So you can see right here what we're talking about. So to seal this car up, we have to seam seal it with seam sealer. Let's go over and look at what we got and the way that we're going to accomplish and tackle a job like this. What we got here, we got us a caulking gun. Everybody's familiar with this. This is a typical, average, regular old, run-of-the-mill, let's go buy a 99-cent caulking gun and do the job at hand when we're caulking our bathtub or walls or whatever we're doing. So this is the caulking gun that we're going to use. Now, they do sell electric caulking guns. I don't own one. Okay, if I was a window installer, I would have an electric caulking gun to put urethane in a window.
Rick, the glass guy, has a
Exactly.
really cool
He's
one.
got 2 or 3 of them. But since we only do this randomly as we're building cars, we don't need all that. Another thing we got here, we got caulking tubes of seam sealer. Now this is a brand right here that I am familiar with, and I use quite often. It's called Dynatron. There is other brands out there. One brand is called Roberlo brand self-leveling single tube caulking, and it's very, very good for drip rails. Do you remember that?
Yep.
Much better than this.
Yeah, it produced a really nice.
Right. So we got different seam sealers for different stuff. Before self-leveling came out, this is what I would use on everything. And I would have to go in there with a piece of wood stick, and I'd have to meticulously level it all out and have tape everywhere, and I'd have to let that dry for 2 or 3 days before I pull the tape off. And then sometimes I'd have to come in there and sand it down to, flow it all out and everything. So seam sealer has come a long way, but what we're doing today is we're just using good old-fashioned seam sealer. We're not using 3M. 3M, in my opinion, is the worst brand to use. And then on our brushable seam sealer, which we're going to be using together, is the TranStar brand. Now, let me get this straight to y'all. The only reason I'm showing you brands of what I use is so you grasp at what's going on here. I don't advertise for these people, and I used to cover names up, but I thought that was unfair to my viewers. These people are not giving me this stuff. This little package that you're looking at right here was how much, Minnie?
$300.
That's $300 worth of seam sealer. Now, am I going to use all this seam sealer on that car? I don't know, but if I need it, it's here to use. The first thing we're going to do to start our little project out is we're going to take a tube of our caulking. We're going to take a knife, and you see that I'm wearing gloves. And I'm going to make a medium-size cut in that. Do you see that?
Yep.
And then I'm going to take another tube, and watch what I do here. Come on over here. Now, I'm going to make a bigger cut.
That's a big cut.
Okay? Now, I'm going to take one more tube, and I'm going to go ahead and make a small cut.
Very small.
So now we got 3 different tubes with 3 different size holes on them. And if you're lucky, like my friend Pete, hang on right there, you might own 2 caulking guns, which will make your job a lot easier because we are going to use different size caulking tips to do this job properly. Does that make any sense?
Yeah, and it really is a good idea to do that if you're doing a large job and have to use multiple tubes, because you will find that it makes it a lot easier if the bead is really small in some places or really big in other places.
So I'm going to go ahead and leave the middle one out for right now, and the only ones I'm going to use are the big one and the small one. And I'm going to show you why. So we got our caulking guns with our caulking in them. And then we got a small brush. Let's go ahead and take one of these. And then we also have a paint stick. Let's go over to the car. Let's start seam sealing this baby up. All right, the first thing we want to do is we want to go ahead and get all of the minute, meticulous little spots, but we want to do it in a way that is professional and also looks nice and what can we say, restored. Can I use that word, restored?
Yeah.
Okay. All right, so we noticed that in this area right here, there was light shining through. Since that's a tight gap, what I'm going to do is I'm going to take my small tipped caulk gun, see how small that is? And then I'm going to come over here, and then I'm going to start caulking this in.
Just like you would do your bathtub, toilet.
But you see how nice and neat I'm doing that. Now watch what I do here. I'm going to come up here, and the only reason I'm doing it right here is to give it that uniform look. And then I'm going to go ahead and do it around here in this area, right here. And then I'll go ahead and go up this line here. And then behind this, we need to get that caulking gun in there. So I'm going to really squirt it in there and make sure that that is caulked up nice. One more thing that you might want to keep handy is a rag. And the rag's there to keep your caulking gun clean. So then, once we got that side done, we're going to come over here and we're going to repeat our process. Now, as I'm putting this caulking in, I'm pushing it in as I am squirting it out, because I want it to make sure that it gets way down in there. Okay, so now that we've gotten this seam caulked in, and it came out nice, we don't want to leave it like that. What we want to do, we want to take our small brush, and what we got here is wax and grease remover. We're going to dip it in there lightly, okay? And then we are going to brush that seam just like this, nice and neat. And what this is doing it's giving it that nice factory look that we're after. Do you see that, Minnie?
Oh yeah, that looks really nice.
Look.
Yeah. That smooths it out without it getting all
See there?
gunky.
So we're taking our wax and grease remover, and then we're just lightly brushing it, getting rid of all the imperfections that we have and giving it the factory look that we want. And then periodically what you'll do is you'll take your rag and clean your brush off. We're going to dab it in the wax and grease remover one more time, and if Minnie can follow my hand, you can see that I'm just barely brushing that and just smoothing it out. That's it.
Yeah, very light touch, right?
Yeah, it's kind of like using your finger, except we're not using our hand, and what we're doing is using the wax and grease remover. Using your finger is a good idea, but it's a lot messier. And then if you look right there, and then we're going to take our brush. Now watch what I do here. I'm really not concerned with what it looks like in there, to be honest with you. But I'm going to take my brush, and to make sure that I get that corner, I'm just going to gouge that in there like this and push down on it.
Pushing the product down into
Pushing the product into the groove. Good job, Minnie, the body shop girl. So now that this back seam is done, and we know that this panel is one piece, do you see what I'm saying, Minnie?
Yeah.
And we don't have to do anything to that. What we're going to do is clean our brush off. We don't want that to dry on there like that. And then we're going to clean the tip off on our small tipped caulking gun. Do you see that?
Yeah.
And then we're going to come over here where this floor extension is spot welded to the trunk floor. Now what this is our trunk floor, and this is a floor extension that goes in and goes down to tie your quarter panel in. Every car has one. So we'll go ahead and repeat our process. And sometimes it can be tricky, but that's okay. And I'm pushing it in as I'm squeezing the trigger, trying to be as neat as I can. And I'll go around there like that.
You have one on both sides.
And then I'm going to come to this side. I'm going to do the same thing. I'm going to push it in as I'm squeezing it. And I'm going to be as neat as I can to follow that seam. Just like so. Just like that. And then we're going to go ahead and take our rag, clean our tip off. And then once again, I'm going to take my brush. I just dipped it in there. And I will brush that seam. Okay, now you can see where it's starting to look like the factory. Because now it's becoming a brushed seam, brushable seam sealer, see? You see what I'm saying, Minnie? Mm-hmm. Once again, we're using wax and grease remover. Okay, so now all we've done, we've gotten the back, we got the sides. Now we're really getting into the heavy situation here, because now we got to get around our Fender Wells where the floor meets. And if Minnie could bring the camera around here and focus on this area right here, where my finger is, you can see there's a lip built into the floor right here. You see that?
Oh, yeah.
And what that lip is for our seam sealer to hold. Okay? That means that when you see something like this, that means that it goes on very, very thick. So, the next thing we're going to do is we're going to take our small tip caulking gun, we're going to put it to the side, and now we're going to get the big dog. We're going to get that big dog caulk, and we're going to go ahead and fill that hole in as fill as it can get. But we're not going to go overboard because I'm going to show you how to finish it out. So I'm going to reach up here, and I am going to start, let me go ahead and get this back section first. I'm going to start way up here, And I'm going to fill that in. You see what I'm doing?
Yep.
I'm filling it in all the way up to the back floor, and I'm putting it on there thick because I want that caulking to go in there and seal what I need to be sealed. You see how I'm doing that?
Yep.
And then we're going to come around here and we will finish it out. Like that. And now, instead of using our brush, we're going to go ahead and use a paint stick. And I'm going to show you why. So I'm going to take my paint stick and I'm going to push it down here. See how I'm doing that? And then I'm going to bring it up here and push it down. I'm going to come around here and I'm going to push it down there.
So just level it off in that groove.
Kind of level it off,
that they
yes.
provide.
But this is only the first coat. Fender Wells get a little extra care. Okay, so as you can see, we basically filled that little area in, but we're not done there. We're not done there. Now that we filled that area in, this is where the brushable seam sealer comes in. So we're going to go ahead and grab a bigger brush. We'll go ahead and use the 2-inch. And now that that is filled in and we've taken our caulking gun and pushed it in there, do you see what I'm saying?
Yep.
Now it's time to go back and give it that factory look and seam seal job that it deserves. So we're going to take our stick with our seam sealer, and this is where we're going to pile it on. Because to answer your question, because I know someone's saying, oh, why did he use a caulking gun? The reason I used the caulking gun is because the caulking gun was pushing it down into the groove. Okay? Giving us a good fill. So I'm going to take my brushable seam sealer, sorry. And I'm going to fill that area up. Do you see what's going on?
Yep.
Okay? And you don't want to overfill it. You want to stay nice and even with it. So where there's a little bit, there you go, right there. Okay? And then we're going to bring it like this. Kind of bring it up and around. And believe it or not, this job to do a car like this takes several hours. This is not a quickie job. Okay? What you're actually seeing, this is real-time video here. This isn't playing around stuff. So you can kind of imagine that we got to do the whole car like this. And to actually do it right takes a while. It's not that easy to just get in there with a caulking gun and say, okay, I got the corners, I'm done. Because we're trying to make this car airtight, especially being a convertible. Does that make sense, Minnie?
Yeah.
Okay, convertibles tend to rust more than hard tops or what have you. Okay, so now we got that. The next thing we're going to do is finish that off. And we're going to repeat our process using our 2-inch brush. We're going to dip it in, and we don't want a lot, just a little bit. And then we're going to bring it around right in the corner, and look what's going on. See that? Huh?
Uh-huh.
Once you see where it starts dragging like that, dip it in there. Kind of fill the groove in, or whatever you want to call it, the gap, the void, and then seam seal it around. Look at that.
Beautiful.
That looks better than factory. And then I'll come over here and I'll follow my line all the way around, and then I want to make sure there's no air bubbles in it, no air pockets, and I want it to be sealed nice. So what we just did there, that's called a double caulking standard. That's something I just made up.
I was just gonna
Okay.
say, that sounds like my friend.
Now, another thing you can do, and the reason we're going to do this is because all this was replaced. And let's say that there might be somewhere where there might be a squeak or a little noise somewhere. Well, what we're going to do to try to eliminate some noise is wherever they welded this on, wherever this was welded, we're going to go ahead and put a dab of caulking on that. Or should I say seam sealer. And the reason we're doing that is because if that is loose or it might be metal to metal or it makes squeaky noises or noises at all, what we're doing is we're dampening it so it won't do that. Does that make sense, Minnie?
Yeah.
Okay. All right, there you go. This side's done. You can see what we did over here. You can see the back where it's been seam sealed in. Very nice and professional. I got to get that side over there next. I think you kind of get the picture here. We got several tools, very simple, easy tools to do the job with, and our brain to lead us down the yellow brick road. I got to get all this here. I got to do my seam sealing and everything that you see here, and double check it, go over it twice, 3 times, and when it's all done, we'll come back and take a look at it and see what a professional caulk job or seam sealer job looks like on a classic restoration car. And Minnie's been a good camera girl this whole video. Do you got anything to say?
Nope, looks good.
So you're in a good mood now?
Yeah,
Okay. Thank you.
thank you.
Thanks for watching D.I.Y. Automotive School. Classes don't stop till you know everything.